On that day, the green hill by the Sea of Galilee was filled with warm light and quiet expectation. A gentle wind moved through the grass, and the sun slowly leaned toward the horizon. In the distance, a large crowd of people could be seen gathering there with different hopes. Some came seeking healing, some came seeking answers, and some simply wanted to be heard. They climbed higher and higher, forgetting about time and fatigue. Jesus stood on the hill, calm and steady, slightly above the crowd. His voice was quiet, yet every word reached their hearts. The people listened, holding their breath as if afraid to miss a single moment. For them, this was more than just teaching. It was comfort and hope. Jesus looked at the people with deep attention. There was no judgment in his gaze, only compassion. He saw their tired faces and the long roads they had traveled. He knew they had not eaten for a long time. His heart was full of care for each of them. One of the disciples stepped closer, looking over the endless crowd. His movements revealed worry and doubt. The people were exhausted, hungry, and still waiting. It seemed that the situation was far too difficult. But it was right here that something greater than they could imagine was about to happen. The disciple stepped closer, lowering his voice as if afraid to say it out loud. He looked at the hills around them, where there were no houses and no markets. It was a deserted place, far from any help. People were sitting on the ground, tired and hungry. The day was turning toward evening, and their strength was fading. The disciple knew that time was running out. He spoke carefully, expressing the shared concern. His words were simple, but there was worry in them. Jesus listened to him and looked again at the crowd. His gaze was calm and confident. There was no fear of difficulty in that look. He saw the people's need, but he also saw the way forward. Jesus answered quietly but firmly. His words sounded unexpected to the disciples. He told them that they should give the people food. The disciple froze, not immediately understanding what was said. He looked at Jesus in surprise. Confusion was written on his face. He spread his hands, showing that they had almost nothing. There were no shops or supplies around. He looked around as if hoping to find a solution, but the solution was already near. The disciples' gaze stopped on a small basket. Inside it was the simplest food: 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. It seemed far too little for such a crowd. The boy hesitated for a moment, feeling the weight of many eyes around him. He was small among the crowd, but his heart was steady. He clutched the basket tightly, unsure of what would happen next. Then he took a careful step forward. His feet moved before fear could stop him. He looked up at Jesus, searching his face. In that look, he found calm instead of judgment. Then the boy glanced at the disciple beside him. The disciple looked surprised, almost unsure. The boy understood that what he carried mattered. Slowly, he lifted the basket with both hands. He offered it without saying a word. There was no pride in his gesture, only trust. It was everything he had brought with him that day. Jesus reached out and accepted the basket gently. His touch was warm and reassuring. A soft smile appeared on his face. He did not comment on how little it was. Instead, he held it as something precious. Jesus raised his eyes toward the sky. The noise of the crowd seemed to fade. In that quiet moment, he gave thanks to God. His voice was calm and sincere. The light around them grew slightly brighter. Not dramatic, not sudden, just enough to be felt. Peace settled over the people nearby. Something ordinary was about to become meaningful. It's not quantity that matters here, but obedience. What was given with trust turned out to be sufficient. When a person takes a step of faith, the impossible begins to happen quietly. God does not work through abundance, but through an open heart. The student understands that the power is not in his hands, but in the message he is fulfilling. Every piece of food becomes an answer to doubt. People don't just get food, they get care. The boy sees that his small involvement has become part of a larger plan. He understands that the value is not in the size of the gift, but in the willingness to give everything. Joy is born where the fear of losing disappears. The crowd is saturated not only with bread, but also with peace. At this moment, no one is in a hurry or demanding more. Gratitude replaces anxiety. This is how faith turns the simple into the sufficient. The boy offered his small bread and fish to Jesus. Jesus lifted his eyes to heaven and prayed. In that moment, a miracle happened. The little gift given with faith became an endless source of food. The bread and fish multiplied as if they themselves heard the blessing. The disciple gathered the leftovers in amazement. What seemed small was more than enough for everyone. Jesus looked at the boy with quiet love, showing that faith and willingness to share can create wonders. The boy smiled, understanding that even a small act given with a pure heart can change the world around. As the people left, only a gentle silence and the light of the sunset remained. The miracle had happened, and it stayed in the hearts of those who believed faith and generosity can multiply even the smallest gift, and each of us can be part of something greater.
On that day, no one went away hungry, not because there was a lot of food, but because there was a heart willing to share. God can multiply even the smallest gift when it is given with faith and love. 5 loaves and 2 fish became a reminder that in the hands of God, nothing is insignificant. If this story touched your heart, remember that your small step of faith can become the beginning of a great miracle. Subscribe to walk with us as we discover the stories of Jesus that continue to change hearts even today.